On Instagram, there was a woman who was allergic to most foods. She tried spinach and wasn't allergic, but would still have reactions such as shortness of breath. She assumed her reaction stemmed from spinach being high in histamine, something she could not process. This is unreliable information because it was based on her experience and not reliable data. It was also gathered from Instagram. This leads to my health and wellness question: does decreasing dietary histamine intake reduce asthma symptoms? The GCU Library has a peer-reviewed journal article published within the last 5 years on the National Library of Medicine entitled "The Impact of Food Histamine Intake on Asthma Activity, a Pilot Study." This is the APA formatted reference. The article has an abstract, multiple data tables, as well as a long list of references. Asthma is a chronic airway disorder that affects the ability to breathe. The bronchial epithelium has an enzyme that can break down histamine, lowering the inflammation in the bronchial tubes. However, histamine-rich foods release an amount that enzymes do not have the capacity to break down, leading to histamine intolerance. Histamine-rich foods are mainly found in aged, fermented, and processed foods commonly seen in the Western diet. Oppositely, the Mediterranean diet consists of mainly whole foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole wheat products, and fish. This study aims to examine the cause and effect of dietary histamine intake in relation to asthma symptoms. 21 adolescent children with mild intermittent asthma were used in the study. 18 completed the study, 10 boys and 8 girls, their ages ranging from 11 to 13 years old. It was an 18-week trial with 3 different periods. The participants were randomly grouped into a low histamine or high histamine diet, where they remained for 8 weeks. After the 8 weeks, there was a 2-week washout period where they ate their regular diet prior to the trial to reset their body before switching to the other diet plan. During the second 8-week period, those who were on the low histamine diet now ate a high histamine diet and vice versa. Asthma symptoms were evaluated before each period, every day in the morning and evening during the 8-week periods, and after each period had concluded. Over the course of the trial, for the periods, 8 random recalls were conducted to gauge what the participants ate and drank throughout the entire day and assess if they were true to the diet and provide insight on ways to improve. They tested the lung function before the trial, and the forced expiratory volume in 1 second was 92.6%, which is normal lung function. During the trial, peak expiratory flow rate was tested, and the lower histamine diet produced 400 liters a minute, and the high histamine diet produced 388 liters per minute, with a p-value of 0.0006, making the data very significant, while more symptom-free days were reported in the low histamine diet. The study also noted separately that more symptoms appeared on days with a higher intake of processed and starchy foods for the high histamine diet, and olive oil and fresh fish in the low histamine diet. The results show that a higher histamine intake raised airflow obstruction, whereas lower histamine intake showed less symptoms and more symptom-free days. However, further long-term research should be conducted. I chose this topic because I have asthma inherited from both sides of my family, and our diet was very important to our lives. As histamine is involved with inflammation, not specifically asthma-induced inflammation, and it shows how important diet and whole foods are in our daily lives, affecting more than we realize. This question proposes change through areas in our life we can control rather than relying on the workings of various medication. It can also lead to new knowledge and progressing the search of treatment in holistic and healthier ways.